Hi, I'm Chris Murray. After a 40-year career in higher education, I retired, and I found myself sitting on the couch, wondering how I could really challenge myself. Gas station sushi, swim with sharks, or take a stand-up comedian class. And so I did.
All right, we're gonna start this show. Oh my gosh. Our first comic of the night is already a celebrity. We've already talked about him. Make some noise for the hilarious Chris.
Thank you. I love this shirt because it's so honest. It tells the reader exactly what is going to happen. Okay? I wore this shirt the night I lost my virginity. I wore it at several job interviews and they did not call back. I wore it accidentally and unfortunately to the airport. And when the guy said, "Take off your jacket," I did. And I was not aware that you could get a pelvic exam at the airport. I thought only dentists did cavity searches. But I found myself in the back room and I was smoking a cigarette and sipping a white wine spritzer with TSA agent Brad. Brad had such soft hands. He still calls me. Can we talk testicles? Let's talk balls. My balls are having an existential crisis. They do not know if they want to be big and bold and brassy, or small and timid and shy. I was out shoveling snow the other day. My wife has me doing all these chores. I retired recently, and she has me doing all kinds of chores. And let me tell you, it does not feel like retirement. It feels like indentured servitude, actually, or worse yet, an unpaid internship. I'm thinking of unionizing, but I was out shoveling and it was cold. It was freezing. And when I got inside, took all my clothes off, I looked down, shrinkage! 2 microscopic balls. So I jumped in the shower, hot shower, steaming shower. When I got out, they weren't microscopic, they were missing. I looked behind me, and there they were. 2 cantaloupes in a warm burlap sack 4 feet behind me like a wedding train. And I screamed out to my wife, "Honey, it happened again." And she ran in, she had this weird happy smile on her face. And she said, "Follow me." And I did. I followed her around the house. She made me mop the entire house with my balls. The 22 stairs, those were painful. I zambonied the kitchen. And I have to tell you, it never looked better. I have a friend, and he likes to save money. He likes to save money, and he called me one day and said, "I would like to take he had a baby, and he had a newborn son, and he called me up and he said, I'd like to take my son to Benihana." And I said, "I don't think a newborn is going to fully appreciate the wonder and the magic of Benihana." But he insisted, and so we went. And when we arrived there at the table, the chef came up with his food cart, pushed it up, and my friend jumped up and pushed a $20 bill in his palm and whispered something in his ear. And this was odd, because he's fairly frugal. And a couple of weeks before this, he called me up and said, "Dude, I'm so excited. I found a place where I can get my colonoscopy for $69.99. They do the procedure in a veterinary clinic." When he showed up for his appointment, the lady offered him the $14.99 anesthesia upgrade. And he said, "No thanks," because, well, it was $14.99. Now, if it's me, and I can get medically high for a couple hours for $14, I'm all in. But he declined, and all was fine and dandy until the moment of truth arrived, and the probe was going into his butthole. His eyes bugged out, and he said, "I'm not asleep." And it was at that moment that he understood the concept of upgrade. So we found ourselves with a newborn at Benihana, and the chef pushed up his food cart. And again, my friend jumped up and put the $20 bill in his palm and whispered something to him. And I was like, this is awesome. He's learning. He's getting the onion tower upgrade for the table. And then something happened that still haunts me to this day. When the onion tower was fully engulfed in flame, and the entire table was oohing and awing at the awesomeness of Benihana, he reached down and picked up his baby, like Rafiki picking up Simba in The Lion King. And he held him up, to see the onion tower a little better, I thought. But no. He pushed the baby's diaper off and held the baby's wiener over the grill, and the chef took his knife. It was a Benihana bris. I was horrified. I looked at him. He had tears in his eyes. And he reached out and grabbed my shoulder and he said, dude, I got the onion tower upgrade. And I got my kid circumcised for $20, all in. This is the best freaking day of my life. And then he looked at the chef and said, keep the tip. Thank you.
Make some noise for Chris! Who wants a flaming onion tower after that? You know, I love Chris.